Hello, everybody. Hello. I'll give you a minute before I start. I'll wait till maybe we get like 100 people in here. I hope we can get 100 people today. Maybe 200. I'll aim for the stars. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Somebody tapped the car? Better BF. Holy shit, we got 300 people in here already. Man, shout to all of you. I appreciate all the love and support. Today we're going to briefly talk about the increasing hostilities in Lebanon and also in the Middle East. Today was a great day. We gave away over 100 food packs, and for the people asking about the Middle Passage, I crossed a mark today. The studio is now half done. So for those of you that don't know, I've been working on building my own studio. Whenever I left Viper Records, I lost the ability to use their facilities, so I used my own studio, and I've just been building it. So I built it myself with the help of my father and just acoustic stuff, and I started doing new music. And I just appreciate the people that have been so patient. I have no choice but to do this, man. There's no other way I can express what I do. I know a lot of you like me talking. I know a lot of you like me writing. I know a lot of you like the stories that I write. But the thing that I'm known for is the music that I make. So it's time for me to make more of it and talking about everything that's happened. Hello, Pisces. So just really quick, I want to draw attention to something that has affected the war in Lebanon and Gaza and in Yemen. About a month ago, the United States and the media here was very hyper-focused on a Russian nuclear submarine, a nuclear submarine group that landed in Cuba. Everybody was talking about it in the news. Oh my God, the nuclear subs have come to Cuba. This is going to be a reason. Right-wing media went off the way it usually does. But here's an interesting thing. That same week, a Russian carrier group landed in Yemen and stayed there for almost 5-6 days, unloading I don't even know what kind of fucking equipment. So the United States has launched a drone strike against Yemen. They've launched, I think it's like a dozen or 14 drones. Out of the 14 drones that were launched, I believe 13 of them were destroyed by a Dillon gun system. For people who don't know what a Dillon gun system, it's like a rapid Gatling gun. Shoots like 6,000 rounds per minute. For the people that don't understand, Yemen, 90% of Yemen doesn't have indoor plumbing. And they have surface-to-air missiles now, right? And the other thing that happened is that Tel Aviv was hit with a hypersonic missile. So for the people that don't get what that means, a regular missile, right? Like a Patriot missile, for example, goes about 1,000 miles per hour, right? A hypersonic missile goes anywhere from 3,000 to 15,000 miles per hour. And Tel Aviv was hit with a missile that the Patriot, like the missile defense batteries, that whole, oh my God, we need to build the Patriot system. It doesn't work. Those weapons fire at 1,000, maybe 1,500 miles per hour. The missiles you're trying to catch are coming at you at 8,000. That's Mach 8. So what's happened now is that for the people who aren't paying attention, 2 weeks ago, Putin gave a news conference in which he openly said, and the Americans and the Russians have threatened each other underneath the framework of all of these arguments. But Putin said openly, that since the United States is arming the enemies of Russia, that the Russians will now arm all of the enemies of the United States. So if you shot down drones and you fired a hypersonic missile, and there's a multitude of other weapons that are involved, we're just going to see an increase in the war. Someone wrote, that's false, man. The Patriot system shot down Kinzhal missiles in Ukraine. Yeah, but this wasn't a Kinzhal missile, Slick Rick. I know that you're committed to the cause in Ukraine, and that's what you believe in, and I appreciate that. You're a Ukrainian, so you should believe in that. But I don't think that the rest of us need to die so that we can complete an imperial agenda in that country. And also, the weapon systems that were used were not caught by the Iron Dome, were not caught by the Patriot, by those Patriot missiles. Maybe they used a different type of missile. You do understand, Slick, there's not one type of hypersonic missile. For example, no, and it wasn't 1,000 missiles, Slick. I'm sorry. This is disinformation that we have to prove. It was one missile that was going 4,000 miles per hour. It wasn't caught. Now, there are weapon systems that the United States has, which is why we don't have free healthcare in this country, because we gave these weapon systems to the Ukraine. You know, we're subsidizing businesses in the Ukraine. Do you know what that means, Slick Rick? Subsidizing business? That means that we give you money to keep the store open, even though the store doesn't do any fucking business, and there's no point of it even being open. Like a pizza shop that's free pizza. So I'm going to give you money to run your pizza shop, but you don't actually need to make money. Okay, that's what's happening. So, as a result, the Russian military is now supplying Yemen with surface-to-air missiles and a series of other things. Other weapon systems, other drones. And I think that what's sad about this situation is that the people of Ukraine are being used like a pawn in America's game, because they ultimately don't care. And if the Ukrainian people like Slick Rick, or if you're upset by that, all you have to do, my brother, is look at the way that the Kurds were treated. The Kurds were America's greatest ally in their war against ISIS. They spent 3 years fighting side by side, and they sold them out at the drop of a hat. In order to make peace with Russia, there will be some sort of territory they're going to have to give up. You know? No, I appreciate you, Slick. You're just asking questions. That's acceptable. And no one should be, attacked for asking questions or being curious about these things. What is happening, and what you were referring to about the mass amount of drones, like 1,000 drones, that's what's happening in Yemen. So maybe those two things are being confused. Yemen is sending mass amounts of drones. But the thing that made this different is that these weren't like 20 or 30 drones that were fired at an aircraft carrier, right? No, this was one missile that was flying 4,000 miles an hour that hit Tel Aviv before the Iron Dome system or the Patriot missiles could respond. But just to be clear, let's be real, America and Russia both have hypersonic missiles that can go up to 15 to 16,000 miles per hour. You know what that means? The Earth got a circumference of 22,000 miles. That shit could go around the Earth in an hour. That's what you're dealing with. The hypersonic missile was given some kind of incendiary ordinance, and it burned a military installation, but I think only 4 people were killed, or 4 people were injured. So just to be very clear, that's where things stand, And I want to also say something else about what I saw happen in Lebanon. I used to be diametrically opposed to conservatives during the Bush administration, during the war in Iraq and the war on terror and the war on drugs. I think that they have terrible ideas. And I'm not afraid to be able to defend that position. I can defend that position easily. against your favorite YouTuber, right-winger, freak show. Light work. But the more important thing that I have to say to you is that I have seen the people that are so-called liberals in this country completely sell out every core principle that they were ever involved in. And this genocide in Gaza had shown me the decadence that liberalism has fallen to in this country. And the reality that I've seen Democrats and these liberal hacks come on here and defend terrorism, right? Use Osama bin Laden like logic. And I'll explain it to you. Osama bin Laden's logic was, if other people get killed in what I'm trying to do, like you didn't hit Fort Benning, you didn't hit Quantico, you hit the World Trade Center, which had a bioterrorism lab in it, right? So here's an interesting thing. Tim Osman, Osama bin Laden, CIA asset. The logic of terrorism is to say, hey, if I kill, let's say, half the group of people I was meant to kill, then it's still a win. I don't care if those other people die. And essentially what we've accepted, what liberals in this country have accepted, is the idea that you can commit terrorism on another country as long as the country that's committing it is Israel. Because then all you have to do is hide behind any accusation or any implication of anti-Semitism or singling Israel out. But you blew up people's pagers and everyone was laughing about that. And yet there are reports that Israel is not denying that over 100 people that died had nothing to do with Hezbollah or Hamas. They were just hospital workers, teachers, a fucking guy with a pager working as a food delivery guy got his leg blown off. And I think that that's disgusting. And the thing that I see is not conservatives cheering this. They were always cheering this, right? They were always cheering this. Republicans rubbed their pussy to dead children for 15 years, from 2001 to 2016, okay? You have no moral high ground as a conservative in this country. Absolutely nothing. But you're in good company now because the liberals have joined you in trading their souls for 30 pieces, for 30 pieces of silver. We're going to get to Egypt, Somalia, and Sudan in a second. The United States is also sponsoring that, but it's doing it through a different partner. It's doing it through the UAE. Listen, I've been to Dubai before. I've been to the United Arab Emirates. It's a beautiful place, but it is a money laundering paradise. And what's happening now is that it's being used to sell illegal weapons to places in Africa and the Middle East. Illegal weapons to people who the United States would like to hurt, but not in public. I'm just sharing these things with you guys because it breaks my heart to see that military aid flows freely, and that, please don't get it twisted. When you see Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and they say that they're tirelessly working for a ceasefire, you don't have to tirelessly do anything. You could just declare a ceasefire and that's what it is. But the truth is that ever since John F. Kennedy died in this country, and it's funny, I was going to become a doctor. I was going to become a PhD. I was going to go to school. And then my friend died. And I said, what the fuck? It doesn't matter. I wanted to do my PhD in American politics, and my paper was based on the theory that after the assassination of JFK that we had a soft coup in this country, because ever since the 1960s, the Pentagon has had way more control over the actions of this country than the president. And no matter what happens and who wins the election, that's not going to change what happens in Gaza. You know? Isn't that weird? This is the most important election of our lives, and yet it doesn't matter if we elect Trump or Kamala Harris, because that will not change the result of the genocide in Gaza. I also want to point to something. Every time people say, oh my God, how can you criticize liberals? You're helping Trump. No, I'm helping you, because you're not using that part of your fucking brain. You fucking nerd. Did you watch Lord of the Rings, you fucking nerd? There's the lessons of your fucking life. Oh my God, if Trump gets elected, America's over. Yeah? He was already elected, and the country's still here. How about this? If Sauron gets the One Ring, then Middle Earth is over. Did you watch the movie, you motherfucker? He had the ring in his hand. He had the ring at the beginning of the fucking movie. Sorry. He had the ring at the beginning of the fucking movie, and they still fucked him up and cut the ring off his fucking hand. They use the right wing as a threat to scare liberal people. And they use liberalism and the idea that you're going to send your kid to school and he's going to come back with blue hair and a cock in his mouth to scare liberals. But they're playing you. They're playing you. I'm sorry for my fucking Pacino freakout. I was having coffee a half an hour ago. No. But you see what I mean? Sorry, people keep calling me. They don't know I'm live. I'm live. Stop calling me. I'm live. Yes, you're being played by both sides, man. You're being played by them. Because nothing that they're going to do is going to change the genocide. Right? In terms of Sudan and the Congo, I put the blame on Europe, and I think China is partially to blame. Their funneling of those natural resources has not been constructive to the country at all. The UAE is selling them illegal weapons. Yeah, 100%. They're doing so because the United States says it's okay. Always remember that too. If there's something going on over there, it's because the US said yes. The whole idea that the Israelis are going rogue and doing all this without the United States cover is absolutely disgusting, and it's patently false. The United States is personally involved in this. Yeah. Another person asked, what are the thoughts on the Diddy situation? Okay. A long time ago, I wrote a song called Dance with the Devil. And in Dance with the Devil, there's a line that I'm sure a lot of you would wonder if it had an impact on things. And I said, any with a red shirt can front like a blood. Even Puffy smoked a motherfucker up in a club, but only a real thug stabs someone till they die, standing in front of them, staring straight into their eyes. Billy realized that these men were well guarded, and they wanted to test him before business started. Suggested raping a chick to prove he was cold-hearted. Right? Have I ever been approached by someone in his camp about that line? I don't know if they were from his camp, but they were someone that definitely approached me years ago. And what this person found out is that I really am from Harlem, right? And that there are other people from Harlem that you really just shouldn't fuck with, that are friends of mine, OGs. And they were like, they told this person, they were like, did someone send you over here? Did this nigga send you over here? Are you really complaining about a line from an underground rap album from 15 fucking years ago? And my friend who you know, he get down. He told this person, he goes, you ever heard of making a problem that doesn't exist even bigger by attacking somebody? You gonna want to deal with him and everybody on the west side? No. I never had a problem because of what the fuck I said. I say what the fuck I want to say because I'm respectful when I need to be, and when I don't need to be, I'm very direct. Yeah, we don't... As a person in the underground, I think a lot of people in the underground always blame Diddy for commercializing music, but at the end of the day, it was just hip-hop didn't go commercial. Hip-hop became a commercial for anything. You know, now if you turn on TV, you'll see a car commercial. They're selling Subarus, right? And the guy in the Subaru is playing Wu-Tang. Oh man, this is so cool. Oh, hey, I remember when I was in the 90s and I had a car and I played Wu-Tang. That's their marketing strategy, bro. It's not that hip-hop became commercial. No, these artists are legendary. But the people who own the music said, no, we're going to use hip-hop as a commercial. So that's what we have now. It became a commercial for anything and everything. Yo, motherfuckers are using hip-hop to sell cereal right now. Yo, listen, they're selling Frosted Flakes with hip-hop. What does that have to do with Diddy? Right? Nothing. I appreciate Method Man for saying that. Oh, shout to Shaka. Shout to the Congo. Yeah, that has nothing to do with hip-hop. That is one man who's on a goddamn power trip, who's a lunatic. And we're supposed to pick up the slack for some sick fuck who was in the industry doing God knows what? And now you got a Freako case? Because it's not a Rico case. You got a Freako case? You got to fight that. Hip-hop don't have to go to court with you, motherfucker. What does that have to do with hip-hop? I'm so pissed off that I see reporters linking what happened with Diddy to hip-hop. I could understand the Bambaataa thing. That's totally different. That happened in the origins of hip-hop. That deserves to be spoken about. But what the hell does that have to do with hip-hop? Somebody said R.I.P. Marcellus Williams. Yes, for those people that don't know, Marcellus Williams was executed, even though another person claimed that they were guilty of the crime. There we go. Listen, man, fighting a RICO is no joke. A lot of people that I know have fought a RICO case, and very few of them have ever won. That is a really, really hard thing to beat. I don't... Someone asked me where I got the term Freako. A Freako case. How do I feel about Kamala being a Marxist? I think that right-wingers don't realize how far to the right they've moved, that they've moved other poor people with a leadless pencil of an imagination to think that something like that could potentially be true. To think that she's a Marxist or she's a leftist. There's nothing about the Democratic Party that's communist or socialist or Marxist. It's just that you've moved so far to the right that you think that anything left of hunting the homeless for sport is communism. That's what's happened to you. That's what's happened to you. You think anything left of hunting the homeless for sport is communism. Yeah, oh, who said this? Pereira? Costa? Rico has a 99% incarceration rate. 100, no, 98. But Rico, you're right on it, bro. You're literally right there with the numbers. Also, let me just say something about the presidency. Oh yeah, shout Joe. I'm halfway done with the studio. I'm sorry you didn't get to see it, man, when you came over, but next time, I'm working on it, little by little. But just to run back to this thing that we were talking about. If you sign up to be president of the United States, the job description is to be the person that takes care of Israel. The job description, it's like, imagine if you wanted to be the manager of a burger joint and you're a vegan. That's what you're dealing with. The people who want to be president, they're vying to support Israel. Their horror and disgust at the genocide is performative. It's performative, 100%. Do I support Dr. Cornel West for president? I think that because I don't live in a swing state, that's much easier for me to say. But yeah, I think that his message is way more precise than Kamala Harris's is on the economy and especially on Israel and Palestine, right? I think RFK shit the bed. I think that he could have done a lot more. But instead he just threw his lot in with Trump. And some of you guys love Trump, right? And listen, I used to think you people were crazy. Now I just look at you the same way I look at Democrats. Just believe in a false prophet. You know, it's okay. Listen, I used to look down on, like I said before, I used to look at conservatives as a joke. And now I look at them just the same way I look at Democrats. You people believe in a tooth fairy. You think that America has been held back by blacks and immigrants. Let me explain something to you, the difference between racism in this country and other places. In other places like the Caliphate and in ancient Rome, people had slavery. But there wasn't 150 years of a scientific justification for slavery. I think that's the part that Americans leave out because they're ignorant and they don't know anything about their history. And this is just for the right-leaning people that are listening here. Have you ever heard of eugenics? Do you know what eugenics is? Eugenics is a junk science, a pseudoscience system that was invented in the 1800s. It has its origin in the early 1700s. And the purpose of eugenics is to prove that white people were genetically superior to all other races. That was the purpose of eugenics. And the difference between America's racism and other places, and the reason that we're so fucked up now is because of America's cowardice. America didn't have the courage to just take people as slaves the way other people did. So that's the difference, conservatives. You know, this dog doesn't bite, but he can hurt you in other ways. So you get it now? In other places where they had slavery, after the slavery was over, right? They were just said, oh, those are people. They're just going to be reintegrated in our society. But the reality is because you convinced yourself and other people and other ignorant, oh, they're half monkeys or they're subhuman people. Then when slavery dissipated, there was still a system that said we can't accept these people in that. And the reason that we can't all get along is because you were too much of a coward to just take people as slaves, right? And also the fact that you have never done the math. The people that are downplaying slavery, oh, it's not that bad. They got free rooms. Really? Let me put it to you in a different light. Do you know that slavery was just legalized pedophilia? I'm going to say that again for the 500 people that are listening to this show. Slavery in the United States was legalized pedophilia. These people did anything with those little kids that they bought and sold. And we can never forget that. And we have to realize that that was inspired. We were an inspiration to people like Hitler and sick fucks like that. They looked at our system of segregation and they were inspired. So now what? I guess that's the most important question, Grim, right? Now what? Now what? What do we do? Third party, fourth party? Downfall of America? How about this? How about we believe in ourselves? I have the ability to not get as much criticism for my political choices because I don't live in a swing state. It doesn't matter if I campaign for Donald Trump. He's never going to win New York. I can say whatever the fuck I want. New York been blue for 100 years. And yet somehow they're offended by those criticisms. Why? Because I think, you want my honest opinion? I'm going to tell you my honest opinion. I think that in the same way that Barack Obama was to the right of George Bush, I'm going to say that again for the people that don't follow this. In the same way that Barack Obama was right of George Bush on immigration and the war on terror. George Bush only knocked over 2 countries. Barack Obama knocked over 6. Bush deported, 2 million people or 1 million people. Barack Obama deported twice as much, right? So I think that what's going to happen is that Vice President Harris will probably win, and she's going to run the country to the right of where Trump was on foreign policy. Yeah. Somebody asked me about Venezuela. I just want to tell people something. There's no grand conspiracy to fill immigrants in this country and therefore cause the downfall of America. That's just people running away from the countries that you destabilized. You don't need an Illuminati invitation to go to another country. That's just what happens when your country collapses. Like, you know what, brother? If I set your house on fire, there's not a conspiracy to get you to come out of your house. Your house is just on fire and it's full of smoke and people are dying. So you have to leave your house. When it comes to Venezuela, first of all, has oil, which it's like the 3rd largest oil producer in the world. So you already were born with a fucking problem. 2, the United States has bragged under Obama and under Trump and under Biden. 3 presidents have bragged about destabilizing Venezuela's economy. And they've talked about destroying Venezuela's economy and some real confessions of an economic hitman shit. And yet you act surprised when people show up here. Are you crazy? Wait, you bragged about overthrowing their country. Let's put this together because I don't think you get what I'm saying. You bragged about putting their country together. You bragged about trying to destroy their nation. And now you're surprised that those people have to leave. You're crazy. What are my thoughts on the president of El Salvador? He's not a middle-of-the-road guy. He's a far-right president. He went to CPAC. He's anti-abortion. He's a hard right president. The people of El Salvador like him because they think that he cleaned up an impossible state. Here's the problem. Whenever I see people like that in power, I always remind them that the next people to go are the people that are standing in the way of them in full power. And I thought the interesting thing about Bukele was when someone came to me and they said, oh, you saw that he had this anti-corruption thing where he fired half of his cabinet. And I said, oh, man, we need to get you a tricycle with some political training wheels. That's not him pulling an anti-corruption scam. That's him destroying all the checks and balances that exist in his country so that he can rule directly. See, in America, we have checks and balances, which means we have three branches of government, but I used to say there were 4. The 4th branch is the media. But the branches of government are the executive branch, which is the presidency, right? The legislative branch, which is the Supreme Court and Congress, Senate, and Congress itself. So through these three branches of government, they kind of check each other and they hold each other in power, right? But what did he do? He claimed that he was fighting corruption, and he got rid of the Supreme Court and the and the Senate, and now he handpicked those people there. It's a dictatorship. You know, listen, you just got to understand that's what we're dealing with. When you say dictatorship, it doesn't have to automatically be associated with right-wing figureheads. Dictatorship is a legal position in a republic structure. And similarly, nationalization isn't about communism. Nationalization is a corrective motion for corruption. So let's say that I'm the new president of Peru. The old president signed a mining agreement with 1,700 different companies to sell pieces of the gold reserves we have. I say these 1,700 companies are not paying their fair share, and you bribed them in order to get a deal. So you know what? We're going to nationalize this. Then we're going to put it back on the market again. That's what it's for. Both of these things that I described have been associated with the right wing and the left wing, but they don't deserve to be. They're just part of government and structure. Someone wrote, he donates to food to people in need. That's why. Yeah, I was running today, the Rebel Army runs. I'm proud to say we gave out over 100 food packs. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you. Oh yeah, I was handing out food today. Sorry. We did 100 food packs. Yeah, I got mine. You guys are really interested in like what I wear. Should I start a fashion channel? You're like, oh, he's wearing his Peruvian indigenous regalia. Do I need a fashion channel? You want to look at my nails? Listen, I think it's rich for some of you to be criticizing me when the people that you look up to musically are a herpy on the cock of American culture. Okay? So, don't ever diss my poncho, motherfucker. You hear me? Respect the poncho. Don't talk about my gear, motherfucker. Don't talk about my clothes. Respect the poncho. I love you guys, man. I appreciate you. And I'm going to be back working on the studio this week. They just finished upstairs. I had to take a break for about 6 weeks because they were doing a construction on the floor above me. But, man, it's looking real beautiful in there. And I'm looking forward to try and record some music next month. I love you guys, man. Maddie Bush. Respect the poncho. I love you, Maddie. Man. Someone said it looks like Versace. Yeah, I got it in Peru for $12, motherfucker. But this is real alpaca. You heard me? It's alpaca. You blocked this shit, motherfucker. You blocked that. Oh, man. I love you guys, man. I'll give you a big shout out. Where are you guys from? Let me know where you're from and I'll shout you out. I'll definitely invite you to the lab, Joe, when it's ready. A Healer's Heart Tarot. What's up, mama? Mexico. Shout out to Mexico. Toronto's in the building. Okay. Canada and Mexico are the first people to shout out. T. Cleveland, Ohio. California's in the building. San Diego. Chicago. Chicago, shout out to Chicago. Lesotho, South Africa. Q from Cali. Jersey. Jersey's in the building. Oh, man, good to see you, brothers, man. England, East Palo Alto, Belgium, Maryland, Connecticut, Greece. Greece. Holy shit. Yasutikani. Dallas, Texas, San Bernardino, Chula Vista. Another Texan. India. What's up, man? Kuwait, Oakland, California. From where the water is cursed. I like that. Oh, San Marcos. Shout out to Cape Town. Shout out to Switzerland. Gardenia. Shout out to France. New York City, born and raised, in Denver. And we're out of here. Take care, everybody. Peace. Anaheim, Sacramento, and the Bay Area. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Mass. All the mass holes. Alaska. I love you guys. I'll definitely save this live. I appreciate you. Rest in peace. Chino Excel forever. My brother, we love you. We miss you. And I wish you were here now.